Okay, we are live. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming out to our New Year, New You, New Book event. This is our New You, New Year event, and we're so excited to have a special guest from ATL by way of Minnesota,
Of numerous places.
of numerous places. Ms. Afia, am I saying
Afya.
it? Afia
Ibomu.
Ibomu. I struggle with the last name a little bit. Afia Ibomu. So thank you for being here. She's going to deal with us on healthy eating. We have discussed money earlier. We didn't assess our value. We done been empowered. We done talked about fasting and prayer. We have even built houses. We had a lady to come in and talk about building a home. And so now we're going to deal with our health. And I'm so excited about that because I consider myself a vegetarian. Why are you laughing at me?
Okay, you
That was
said
a
it right,
big
not
laugh.
vegan.
A big laugh.
Huh?
You said vegetarian, not vegan.
No, I don't play with the vegans. Vegans are serious. I'm a vegetarian, but I could do better because I need to do better.
Okay.
But my heart is vegetarian. Okay. Socially eat.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Already,
What's the good? I mean, starting out, what's the difference between vegan and vegetarian?
Oh well, hold on. Let me get you to the expert right here. Hold on. Let's just go right into it. After
Okay.
you answer this question, you can introduce yourself.
Okay. A vegan doesn't eat any animal products at all. So no fish, no dairy,
No cheese.
no cheese. Some do not eat honey. I'm not one of those, but some don't eat honey.
What
Oh.
about fish?
No fish. No fish. No fish.
They consider honey.
Some, yeah, some do because it comes from a bee. A bee
Well, I
makes
guess
honey.
it is okay.
So, but then a vegetarian will not eat like pork or beef, but some do eat cheese. So that is the difference. Some eat eggs also.
A vegetarian that eat fish?
No, that would be a pescatarian. That's people who only eat fish, but they don't eat any other meat. So that's the difference.
Three. Vegetarian, vegan,
And pescatarian, yes, those are three. There's flexitarian. There's so many words these days. There's flexitarian. There's
Vegetarian, is that a religion?
well, you know what? Some people try to make it be a religion, but it's not.
Flexitarian. Now,
Flexitarian is people who
You said flex?
flex. So that means sometimes they're vegan, sometimes they're not. Some people only
she a
eat.
flexitarian.
Some people only eat meat like on the weekends and don't eat it during the week. So they try to eat mostly plant-based, eat mostly plants and meat just sometimes. So they call themselves flexitarians.
Oh, I didn't know I had a name now. Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm-
what that's called,
Okay.
flexitarian.
That's right.
Flexing, yes,
Not vegetarian.
not veggie, but
Now, the
flexing.
one that only eats fish is what?
Pescatarian, so pesca meaning fish and I think
Yeah, we
land.
went from right here.
So Chuck, what are you? Chuck,
I'm a vegetarian.
Vegetarian.
Donnie, you got a picture right here?
Yes, ma'am, I have a question as well. What if, the person that eats just whole foods would be classified? What's whole food?
That's just, there is no name for that. There is, so whole foods are foods that are not processed in any way. So, a strawberry Pop-Tart, right, is processed, right? A strawberry is a whole food. So whole foods are things that are grown naturally or just naturally found in nature without any processing to
Is
it.
canning processing or freezing processing?
It is slightly, but it's not changing the food itself. So flour is processed because it's taking the wheat kernel and crushing it up and making it into a flour. Canned peas are just peas put in a can with salt and water. So that would be considered a very lightly processed food or a whole food.
One more question.
Yes,
What about the canning that grandma and Aunt Bessie used to do?
that is amazing. That's a great process, and it's a whole food, and it's healthy for you. It's healthier for you than the stuff that we eat today. Yeah, but it's still whole. So you're not like turning it into like a Pop-Tart. You know what I'm saying? It's just the food itself in some vinegar and salt. And that's
Yes.
very healthy for you. And that's a way to preserve food that only grows in a certain season, right? But you can have it throughout the year because you have preserved it.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning. So
We're gonna take questions.
Can you give her background? Well, that's what I
But
said.
you know,
We're gonna go back.
People want to come and get their questions answered. So I'll answer a few questions and then I'll say what.
No,
You had a question.
No. Start from the beginning.
Yeah.
We'll
So-
rotate the question.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so how did I get to this space? So my name is Afya Ibomu. I am a certified holistic nutritionist. I have been plant-based for 34 years and vegan for 28 of those years. I'm an author. I have written 7 books, and I have 2 kids, and I have a 22-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I have my bachelor's degree in nutrition, and I'm certified in holistic health counseling. So my journey started because I used to be really sick as a kid. I had asthma, allergies, irritable bowel syndrome, hydration, and migraines. I was on 8 different medications a day. I took allergy shots once a week. And then when I was 15, my mom found me an allergy specialist that said it could be the foods that I was eating for all my health issues. And that was the first time I kind of related food and health together. And, you know, this was 34 years ago. So there was no cell phone, there was no Google, there was no internet, there was none of that. But what we did have, we had hip hop, right? So KRS-One, if anybody knows who KRS-One is, he had a song out called Beef about being a vegetarian in the food industry. And so once the doctor was like, it's food, and then he had that song, I was like, I'm a vegetarian now. I became a vegetarian. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I did the best I could at that
I didn't
time.
realize KRS-One was an influence. Go ahead.
Yes, hip hop. Hip hop is very influential, and he definitely influenced me in a lot of ways. And then so in my early 20s, me and my children's father, we moved to New York, and he got gout at 21 at a very young age. He said it was because he was living a hip hop lifestyle, burgers, blunts, and booze. And luckily, 2 weeks before he was diagnosed with gout, I found out about Queen Afua. You guys know who Queen Afua is? Okay.
No, I don't.
So Queen Afua is just the OG in holistic health, right? She has been healing people for a very long time, and she had her center there. And I learned about being a vegan and fasting and detoxing from Queen Afua. So once he got gout, the doctors told him he would be on medication for the rest of his life. And then I was like, we're not doing that. We're about to be vegan now, and we're about to heal you naturally. So we healed him naturally within a few weeks. He has never had gout again, and he did not take the medication. And then a few years later, my mother got multiple sclerosis, and she did everything the doctor said to do for about 2 years. Her health wasn't getting any better. She was on steroids. If you guys know what steroids do, they make you gain weight. She was walking with a cane. She would fall down uncontrollably. Her speech was starting to slur. And so after 2 years of that, I was like, Mom, you know, there has to be a better way. You know, there has to be something else that you could do. And so I took her off of all her medication. I put her on a raw food, plant-based diet with certain herbs and supplements. And within 30 days, her health improved 90%. And that was 25 years ago. My mom currently lives on her own. She does not use her cane. She does her stationary bike a mile a day. And if she would have went down the regular path, Western allopathic medicine, she would either be in a wheelchair by now or she would not be here. So once I saw that I healed myself from asthma, we healed my children's father from gout, my mother from MS, I realized that plants have power, right? Plants are very powerful. And so then I went to school and got certified in holistic health, and then I got my bachelor's degree in nutrition, ultimately. And then I started writing books. So
Wow.
that's my journey.
Amazing. Now, what's your first book? What was your first book that you?
Well, my first books actually were crochet books because I also crochet. So I have 2 crochet books
Are you
called,
still crocheting?
I'm bringing that back because I just started a new brand called Home Ec Honey about home economics. And so I'll be teaching women about home economics from my point of view, a modern day holistic point of view with organic gardening, plant-based living, crafts, self-love, home improvement.
All that
Things
beautiful
like that.
stuff.
Yes, all the things that a lot of people do not know these days. Unfortunately, a lot of young people don't know how to cook or don't know how to not use a microwave or make things or garden and things like that. So that is my
Time out.
favorite.
Who don't know how to use a microwave?
Well, I don't use a microwave, but people don't know how to cook without using it.
Without, that's what he said.
Oh, cook without it.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. I don't
Okay.
use a microwave, but I haven't for
Yeah,
over
I know.
25 years. So
Most modern women don't know how to do number point to the restaurant.
exactly.
Oh,
So my new brand, Home Ec Honey, is
I
going
think
to
you got
help
around the question.
women empower themselves in that way.
It's my understanding that gout is caused by crystallization of uric acid
Yes.
in blood.
Yes.
How and what do you do to alleviate that?
Okay, so his question, he said gout is caused by uric acid that crystallizes in the blood and settles in your joints. And how do you alleviate that? So you're gonna get uric acid buildup from meat,
Any kind of meat?
especially
I thought it was
beef,
just
beef and pork,
beef and pork.
and chicken also, right? You can get uric
And
acid from chicken.
shellfish as well.
Yes, but not as much, right? But less. And then soda, candy, sugar, fast food, processed foods, right? Those things can cause uric acid and settle in your joints. How do you get rid of it? You eliminate the meat and you add a whole bunch of fresh fruits and vegetables and focus on red foods. So like cherries, cranberries, pomegranate. And then you also want to cleanse out your liver. So things like milk thistle, dandelion, and burdock teas. Really just go on a detox. If you go on a detox, and I have my book, The 5-Season Detox, and some detox teas as well, that will help you. But it's very simple. A lot of things can be alleviated just by getting rid of processed junk food, fast food, soda, candy, and meat, and adding in fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and seeds, and water. So many things. So many things. And that's not everything, because I was going to tell my story about I just recently got divorced. And because I was in such a stressful emotional state, it really had an effect on my health. And I realized that your emotions have a physical effect on your body. So they release hormones and they release chemicals that affect specific organs in your body. So because I was so stressed for about 2 years, from 2021 to 2023, I started having anxiety attacks. I lost 20 pounds. I had stress-induced high blood pressure. I kept throwing up. I kept getting sick. And then I finally went to the doctor to figure out what was going on. And she was like, she did all these tests. And then she said that my kidneys were filtering at 50%. So what that is stage 2 kidney disease. And that was last year around this time, like February, March. And so at that point, I was like, okay, there's something. I always believe that the body has the ability to heal itself if given the proper tools, right? And so what I realized is that because I was going through so much stress and grief and fear and worry, because all of those emotions affect our organs in different ways for a specific, grief affects your lungs, right? So that's going to give you like a cough or a congestion. I was grieving a 30-year relationship. We were together for 30 years. I was very fearful because I was like, I'm leaving my marriage. I'm breaking up my family. What am I going to do? How am I going to take care of myself? Fear affects your kidneys, right? I was very angry because, of course, when you go through divorce, people say and do hurtful things. Anger affects your liver. I was very worried, just worried about what am I going to do? I had to find somewhere to live and all of these things. Worry affects your stomach, which was causing me to throw up and lose weight. I was having anxiety attack. Anxiety affects your nervous system, right? I was very stressed, And stress affects your circulatory system, which is what gave me stress-induced high blood pressure, right? So diet is part of it, but so is our mind and our emotions and the way that we think. And so a lot of times you see when people are together for a long time and then one of the spouses pass and soon after the other spouse passes, a lot of times it's because their emotional state is too much for them to take. And because they're usually elders, their immune systems are not strong enough to deal with all of the emotions and how those emotions are affecting their bodies, and they unfortunately pass soon after. And so at that point, I was like, yeah, I'm not about to be in dialysis or die because I got a divorce. So I had to lean into a lot of holistic practices to help to heal me, which is why I wrote this 7-day guide to tap in, tune up, and take charge of your mind, body, and spirit, which is a free guide, actually. And I have all these different holistic practices that help me to heal myself after my divorce. So
We're just all captivated. We're just so captivated. Oh, wow. You covered a whole lot.
Thank you.
I got gout and arthritis
Mm-hmm.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And I had a attack a couple months ago, and what I started doing was drinking carrot juice.
Mm-hmm.
I was on a strict carrot juice diet. Every morning I had buy one of those bottles of carrot juice, chromograms, and all that kind of mixed up in it. And it really helped.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me.
Mm-hmm.
What's good for you might not be good for me.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that I did change my diet at one time, and I got thirsty or hungry for meat like today.
So the thing is that even though I'm a vegan, I'm not like you have to be vegan to be healthy, right? But even you saw that small change in adding those vegetables to your diet were helpful.
Oh, it's very helpful.
Exactly. So he was saying, I don't know if they can hear on this live, but this guy has gout and he started drinking carrot juice and it was helpful. So more than just becoming a vegan, it is you want to add more fresh fruits and vegetables to your diet and reduce the amount of meat that you are consuming, right? So if you don't need to have meat every single day at every single meal. Like try just not to do that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe have it 3 times a week or replace meat with fish, right? Because beef is harder on your body than fish is, right? How big is a cow? A cow is like a ton or something, right? A cow is a super big animal, right? And so those proteins are also very large, and we're trying to put that into our body to digest that, right? That's very hard on our systems, and it's very hard for us to digest. A fish is very small, right? It's a cold water animal. It has different omega fatty acids and different things than beef does. So it's easier for your body to digest those things. So if you want to try to switch out some things, I would say how I say it, if you want to start like changing your diet, pork is first. Well, no, before you even take out meat, I say take out fast food, junk food, candy, soda. Take all of that out first before you even take out meat, right? Then you start with pork, beef, poultry, dairy, and then seafood in that order. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Because we all know fast food ain't good for us, right?
Oh, we know that.
We know that, but we still eat it, right?
Because it's fast, doggone it.
But so the thing is that
Fast food anyway.
there's a difference between fast food like McDonald's and then like fast casual like a Chinese restaurant, right? The Chinese restaurant with no MSG, but we know that they are using fresh vegetables daily at a Chinese restaurant as opposed to prepackaged, highly salted, highly preserved, highly artificial colors and flavors at McDonald's, right? So there's a difference in those two type of ways of eating, right? So you can call ahead and order some Chinese food, and that'll be ready just as fast as if you go through the fast food line at McDonald's or Popeyes or something like that.
That's a good tip for eating healthy.
Yes.
What's toxic about seafood?
Well, there's a lot of different theories. So in general, seafood is not so bad if our waters were not so polluted, right? But we know that our waters are polluted with mercury and all kind of pollution, pharmaceutical drugs, all of that kind of stuff. And seafood for me is, I just choose not to eat meat. But I know that historically, culturally, it has been eaten for, millennia, right? In different places, in different areas, but it was also much healthier, right? And a lot of times now, most people eat farmed fish, right? Rarely are people eating wild fish. So if you're gonna eat fish, it should be wild, right? It should not be farmed, because farmed is not healthy and they feed it all kind of chemicals and things like that. So if you're gonna eat fish, it should be wild. It should be things like wild salmon, things that are smaller fishes, because larger fish eat smaller fish and they have more mercury in them. So yeah, and then it should be fresh, because a lot of the times, if something is not freshly caught, they are pumping in all these gases and preservatives in it to make it look fresh, including the meat, and it's not really fresh, right? They're just preserving it with artificial colors and flavors and gases to make it look fresh and look red, but it's really brown and old. So I know, I'm sorry. So if you're going to eat meat, it should be 1, organic, right? Or 2, wild, even if you're eating pork or beef or chicken or dairy or eggs. If you're going to eat those things, 1, they should be organic, and they should be organic based off what they are feeding those animals, right? And then how they process that. And then seafood should be wild if you're going to eat seafood. And then it's just heavy, too heavy for your body and too hard for it to digest. I believe that just like animals, there's carnivores, herbivores, and omnivores. I feel like that is the same for humans, right? I feel like everyone is different depending on your background, with your blood type, with, all those types of things. But ultimately, the more plants you eat, the healthier you're going to be.
Here's a question right here.
Yes.
So all that you learned that they do to meat,
Mm-hmm.
don't they do it to plants as well in farming?
If
Because,
you're not eating
a lot of
organic,
plants are hybridized. It's
Mhm.
hard to get heirloom plants. Heirloom plants are the older plants that produce seeds. Most
Mhm.
plants now come from plants that don't produce seeds
yes.
because
So,
they're hybridized plants.
Mhm.
So the same thing they're doing to meats, they're also doing to plants, and the plant is only as good as the soil it grows in
Mhm.
because of the herbicides and the pesticides and the residual effects of that. You kind of still fighting the same battle with plants because of the adulteration done by man. It's on both sides, plant and animal.
Right.
So I'm not going to say they do the same thing to plants as they do to animals. So
Well, they're not, because a plant is a plant, and animal. But I'm
Right.
talking about the process. And, when you do herbicides and pesticides, it goes into the plant systemically,
yes,
and so you're going to eat that.
yes.
So I'm just saying, you still got that on the plant side as well as the meat side.
Hmm. So
But I'm just saying, you still have to be careful of the plants you eat as well.
yes, you do. Organic. You should be eating organic.
And organic is a word used very loosely.
Yeah, but the thing is, if something is not organic, right? They are spraying stuff with it, and it's genetically modified. Also, if you guys know what genetic modification is, I will just speak on it lightly. So, genetic modification is they are changing the genes of the food, right? So, say tomatoes grow in what season? You guys know they grow in the summertime, right? In the warm. They will put a fish gene into a tomato seed so that a tomato can grow in the wintertime.
A fish gene.
Yes, that's genetic modification. So they are modifying the genes of those foods so that they can either grow in a certain season when not supposed to, or they will also put pesticides and herbicides within the seed as well, so they don't have to spray as much, right?
Mhm.
So that's why, but organic, you're not supposed to do that.
You're not
Right.
supposed to.
You're not supposed to, but right, there are people want to just throw that out like, but people do. It's not the same. It's not the same. And how do you know that it's not the same? Because they do have certain protocols in place. Organic is not conventional. Organic is way better than conventional. And the best way to get it is to grow your own food.
But you know,
Right.
it's still a matter of soil.
It
See what I'm
is.
saying?
But if
Even
you,
if I grow my own food
Mhm,
in my yard,
mhm,
I have to take a soil sample to the extension office
you do,
to see what's in that soil.
yes,
I'm just saying you have the same precaution
yes.
in going to the store.
Mhm.
You know, I said, look at the label, because on the label, they will tell you if it's organic or organically grown, or they'll have some code word on there to
Yeah.
tell you the how good that plant is.
Yes,
So you really have to read the labels when you go to the store to buy plants.
you do.
Yeah.
You do. And as you're saying, it is about the soil. So if you're growing your own food, that's a great reason to compost, right? You're going to compost all of your scraps and things to make your soil healthy,
Right.
right? And so, and another way to get better food is to buy from local farmers, right? Because you know who's growing the food, you know how they're taking care of the soil. If you don't want to grow it yourself, then you buy it from local farmers. And that's another way to get, you know, the healthier foods and stuff. Does that make sense? But yeah, you do have to watch. And it's whack that we have to even deal with all of this, right? Because back in the day, we didn't have all of this. Like our grandparents didn't have to worry about GMOs, right? They weren't even spraying as bad back then. And a lot of our grandparents had their own gardens and things like that.
I remember corn.
Yeah, so it's only been maybe 75 years that they have been using all of these chemicals and things like that in our food. So it's very new, and it's very whack that we even have to deal with that. But this is the world we live in. So we have to make adjustments to the current lifestyle that's out here for us. And we have to be diligent, right? And we can't just fall to, well, they do this with plants and they do this. It's like, yeah, but we still have to take accountability for our own health and our own life. And by doing that is being diligent of, is this organic? Let me read my labels. Let me grow my own food. Let me go to a local farmer. Those kind of things. These are things that we have to do ourselves instead of, well, they're just going to do this and that and that. But if you're just saying they're just going to do and not taking responsibility for your own health, you're going to be the one who suffers in the end. If that makes sense.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Any other questions or thoughts?
So, Afia,
Yes.
in September, you and I had a conversation because I used to eat meat 3 times a day, and I used to eat ribs was one of my favorites. I don't know if you guys eat them too often, but yeah, ribs is one of my favorite things to eat. And I was always on the grill. I'm from Texas, of course. And we had a conversation, and you said, Dad, why don't you try whole foods? I had a slab in the freezer, you know, and ribs. And you said, are they frozen? I said, yes, they're frozen. And you said, well, leave them frozen, and for 1 week, just try whole foods, which are fruits, vegetables, and fish. And I knew that wasn't going to work for me because I couldn't quit eating meat. But for 1 week, I quit eating meat, and on the 7th or 8th day, I kind of noticed a little change that was going on with me. And then I said, you know, I'm going to try this another week. And I went on the on the first week, I noticed that I'm a diabetic, and I noticed that my blood sugar was like 140 or 160. So I said, well, I'm going to try this and keep going on. And I was real diligent. I didn't fool around. I do fool around once in a while now, but I didn't fool around at all. And for a whole month, I kept eating whole foods. And I went to the doctor, and I think I was weighing 260 pounds that first week. When I went to the doctor, I think I was down to 224 after that. And then the third time I went to the doctor, I was changing doctors. That's why I know my weight so well. I was at 212. But the long story short is I haven't given myself any insulin since September.
Oh, wow.
And I'm very proud of that. And I think that's really phenomenal. And I wanted to thank you for getting me on this path. But I think it's phenomenal.
Right.
Well, you're welcome, and I'm proud of you for
That is
sticking
awesome.
to it.
Is it going away?
Oh, it's still in the freezer. It's still in the freezer.
So I'm proud of you for sticking to that, because I know a lot of elders be stuck in their ways, right? And are not willing to try some new stuff. But ultimately, you're the one who is hurting, right? You're the one who's taking medication. You're the one who's like, everything's hurting in my body. But if you know that there are solutions, it is really up to you to try some new things, because we don't live in the world that we used to live in. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole new world. And so, doctors want to give you what? Medication. That's all they want to do is drug you up, right? And he had been going to the doctor for years, right? Years. Nothing that they were doing was helping him. So what did I say? I said, just try it. Just change. 1 week, please work with me. 1 week. Just stop eating junk food. Stop eating candy and cookies and donuts and all that stuff, and just eat fish, fruits, and veggies. And let's see that little change. He's not on insulin no more. Just that little change. So it don't take a lot. It really does not take a lot. You ain't got to be vegan. And you're not eating organic, right?
No, that's again, it's kind of high bucks.
See what I'm saying? He's not even eating organic.
The fruit and the vegetables are very high. Yeah.
So,
And that's a good point, though.
see what I'm saying?
Organic food, unfortunately.
Well, because some stores are gouging using that word.
Yes,
Right.
So you have to shop around for organic, just like any other
yes,
groceries.
yes.
Because they use the word organic and they want to hike the price.
Mm-hmm.
When, you hear reports all the time, they go through the store and show you this is organic, this is organic, this is organic.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to shop around and be kind of smart organically,
Yeah,
because they will raise the price to say
They
that
will.
word.
they will.
And Whole Foods I tell everybody, when you shop at Whole Foods, it's not all Whole Foods, so you have to know how to shop in there.
Yeah, and I don't even shop at Whole Foods, honestly.
Yeah,
I shop at Sprouts. I shop at Sprouts because Sprouts has decent prices for their organic stuff.
Raises the price.
Yeah.
Aldi's here in Dallas has good pricing.
Yeah, Aldi's also is good too.
Yeah.
Aldi's is good too.
Prices for organic food.
Who, Aldi?
Aldi's.
Yeah, I don't go to Aldi.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, they have good prices. Sprouts, I go to Sprouts and Aldi's is good too. But you see, he's not eating organic, right? So it didn't even matter if it was organic or not. What mattered was taking out the junk food and the heavy meat. And he just had fish, fruits, and vegetables, and water.
And water.
We added water.
I didn't have soda, just water.
That's wonderful.
I've had a tea once in a while. That tea.
Some detox teas.
Yeah, detox tea.
Mm-hmm.
And that was amazing as well. It was just amazing. And thank you again for that.
That's awesome.
I've asked for that today.
He's like, did you bring some tea today? You had a question. Yes.
I wanted to know, since I've heard a lot of people who start doing holistic doctors versus regular medical,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad went through what he was going with the gout, and at one point it was some medication they had him on, and he kept getting it like every month, especially when he would eat itch.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, he stopped having it, and he ate some Chinese food, and it triggered it
Mhm.
after years.
Mhm.
So it's like, since holistic doctors typically appear lately, the reports that I've been hearing have been getting more success rate of eliminating meds. Why isn't more of the training on that, the person as a whole, being implemented more so than the traditional things is try this, try that, or why isn't there an immersion of the two?
Because the pharmaceutical industries run the government. That's why. Medical doctors. So we live in, so this is why I went to school to get my degree in nutrition, because I had my certification in holistic health, but I needed to know how to read somebody's chart. I needed to know what was the A1C level. I needed to know how allopathic Western medicine, how they do what they do. And I needed to know that so I could actually help people deal with what doctors are telling them, right? So what I realized is that it's about money. We live in a capitalist society. Capitalism means money, money over people, right? And so when the drug industry lobbies the government and pays them and pays doctors to give you medication, why would they change that, right? They have commercials that tell you to ask your doctor for medication, right? I remember they had the royal wedding. You remember that with what's the name? The black girl and Harry and Meghan.
Morgan.
Right. Okay. So I remember. Right. So I remember when they had that. Right. They started showing the commercials that we see all the time, the drug commercials we see all the time. But in Europe, they don't do that. They're not allowed to do that. And people were so astonished and amazed. They were like, why would you have a commercial where you're going to ask the doctor for a medication, right? The doctor's supposed to tell you what you need, right? So this is brainwashing that we have from the pharmaceutical industry for us to ask people for drugs. And then the commercials tell you this is going to cause you to have suicidal thoughts and bleeding out the rectum and all kind of stuff, right? That's not helping you. Drugs are not healing, right? Drugs cover the symptom. They the receptor of what it makes you feel like in the body, so you just don't feel it, but it's not there to heal you. Holistic is about healing. It's about healing the whole being and the whole person, and using ancient herbs and ancient ideology, things that we already knew, right? There wasn't cancer back in the day, right? There was a lot of this stuff back in the day, but because we live in this Western modernized society, we have all of these issues, and then they make up new diseases with all these words. For any little thing, you have a disease, and then we have a pill for that.
Yeah,
right?
Right.
And honestly, doctors, it's just, the government is not very efficient, right? And then our institutions are just doing the same thing they've always done. But luckily, what I'm seeing, at least in the Black community, is that more people are taking control of their own health. More people are doing detoxes. More people are taking their sea mosses. More people are just more open to even plant-based sometimes, even if you're not doing it all the time. They're just being more open to it. And so I am seeing people are trying to start taking their health into their own hands and seeing that, Western medicine is not necessarily the best. And not like you can never use Western medicine. It's good for like, you get shot and you take out a gun, or you take out the bullet, or if you break something, or to get an x-ray or something like that. It's good for that. But just regular living and being healthy is not the best.
Most of the time when we talking about people living in the ghetto or in poor neighborhoods, and you said that we get shot and stuff like that, most of us die of lead poisoning.
Yeah.
And then you come around and you see things that's different. Like, for example, myself, I have neuropathy. And I've been taking this medicine, and it hasn't done anything but
Mhm.
delay, like you said, delay the stuff.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, and it is to me, I had stopped using it for a while.
Mhm.
You know, instead of going to the drug dealer, you know, Kmart and Walmart and
Mhm.
CVS and
Mhm.
Walgreens. So I stopped using that stuff, and I started doing what you had already mentioned. I had already started doing,
Mhm.
and I did that for about a week or 2 weeks. I felt a lot better, but I still got neuropathy.
Yeah. So
This ain't going nowhere, so no time soon.
So what helps neuropathy that I've seen helps it the best is acupuncture. Acupuncture. I have literally seen, so acupuncture is where I go to. I have an acupuncturist, and that's my main doctor. I don't take medication, and I haven't in 30 years. I only take, I take herbs. I just take herbs. Oh, definitely not aspirin. No. I take no medication. I don't use a micro. I'm really out. Yeah, I don't do any of that. So, but I take herbs, right? So acupuncture is traditional Chinese medicine that has been around for like 6,000 years. And they use very small needles, and it's not like a shot, but it's like really small needles, and it taps into your body's electrical system. So we are electrical beings, right? So you guys have heard the periodic table of elements. Have you guys heard of that with calcium and magnesium and iron and all of those things, right? Everything has a charge on it, a positive or a negative charge, right? And so our bodies are filled with all of those elements, right? And we have positive and negative charges. Our body and all of these synapses and how your brain works and how things are metabolized in your body have positive or negative charges. So what that is electricity, and we have electrical currents in our bodies. And so acupuncture taps into that, and it helps your body to naturally heal. And then on top of that, they give you traditional Chinese herbs that help your body heal as well. And I have seen it get rid of neuropathy and never come back.
I need to try some of that.
And so my criteria for choosing an acupuncturist is, and people get mad when I say this, but this is my criteria. Y'all can choose an acupuncturist however you choose to, but my criteria is you have to be Chinese first. Right? Y'all laughing, but I'm serious. It's traditional Chinese medicine, right? So I need you to know Chinese, right? To get the teachings, right? I feel like there's a thin line between the translation of those things. So you have to be Chinese. And then you have to have been practicing for at least 20 years to put any needles in me. Chinese, practicing for 20 years. And they have them here.
Chinese food.
Hmm?
Why don't we just eat Chinese food? We don't have to eat Chinese.
Well, I'm saying that your practitioner has to speak Chinese, right? Your practitioner has to be able to speak Chinese. So they have to be Chinese. For me to choose an acupuncturist, they have to be Chinese and they have to be practicing for at least 20 years. And they have them here in Fort Worth because I found some for my dad. So they're here in Fort Worth, right? So that will help neuropathy and it will get rid of it. And it don't even take a long time.
I have a question.
Yes.
What can you do for high blood pressure and
Where are you at?
Okay.
high blood pressure and
Hypertension.
you know
Circulation.
Cholesterol?
Has to do with cholesterol. That's what.
Okay.
Cholesterol.
High blood pressure,
Yeah,
high
I know they're
cholesterol.
related, but,
You have to get rid of pork and beef. So processed foods, so things that are pre-made, like rice dishes and frozen stuff and dairy products are very high in salt.
okay, what about,
But I'm not done yet. So you have to get rid of that.
okay,
And then you got to add fresh fruits and vegetables and water. So I'm gonna tell y'all, for the majority of all things, you got to add a whole bunch of veggies, a whole bunch of fruit, and water. And then if you want to eat some meat, stick to seafood. And it needs to be fresh.
What about beet juice?
Beet juice is good too. But so some people they'll try to be like, well, it's kind of like a drug. Some people just want a drug. They want one thing that's gonna work, right? And they don't have to change nothing. They ain't got to do nothing. Just give me a drug and I hope that works, right? But it is a lifestyle change that is really going to take you to another level, and it's not going to come back and you're not going to be dealing with it. So you have to do a lifestyle change. And I know we're addicted to these foods, right? And I know we're used to eating them. But as you see over time, right, your body is tired of trying to digest this stuff. And it is wearing down your organs. And that's what's going on in your body. Because I'll be 50 this year. I'll be 50 years old this year.
Oh, just a bit.
We have Chuck, and then we're gonna have Diane. Those will be the two last questions.
Yes.
Mine is, I really don't know what's in that book right there, the one that's staring at me. No, the other one. I think y'all stopped. Yeah, y'all.
This
stopped.
one?
Yeah.
The vegan remix. So this is the vegan remix, a soulful spin on world cuisine. So it is foods from around the world: Caribbean, Ethiopian, Thai, Mexican, but it's 100% gluten free and allergy friendly also.
So that's the recipe book.
Yes. So this is a cookbook.
Okay.
100% gluten free and allergy friendly food from around the world. This, the Vegan Soul Food Guide to the Galaxy, is great for people who want to be beginners at being a vegan. So I talk about where to get your nutrients, where to shop, what to buy, how to eat out as a vegan. And then it also has recipes like candy yams, collard greens, cornbread, sweet potato pie, potato salad, all of that, but vegan. So that's what those two books. And then I also have my 5-season detox. That's the ebook, and where I talk about detoxing seasonally. In each season, you're going to be cleansing and nourishing 2 different organs. So by the end of the year, you would have cleansed and nourished all of your major organs by then, and learn how to eat with the seasons and detox. So
Your skin is very pretty.
thank you. Appreciate it. This is too.
All right. Any Chuck question? I'm sorry, Chuck.
So yeah, I am a psychotherapist by trade, and you mentioned this, but didn't go into great detail about, along with the food changes you had to make, some of the socio-emotional, psycho-emotional changes you had to make as well. So can you just give kind of like a brief description of some of the techniques that you use to kind of also deal with the stress?
Yes, so I had this thing over there. We were supposed to do that today, but we're not going to do it here. So I have this thing called the wellness wheel, where it talks about all different areas of your life and how all of those areas can affect your health positively or negatively. So finances, your diet, your family life, your relationships, your hobbies, like how are you living your life? Because sometimes we think of people who are healthy as just if you're skinny or if you have muscles, that means you're healthy. Right? But that's not necessarily true, right? If you don't have any money and you're in a relationship, y'all probably gonna be arguing all the time, right? And that's gonna be stressful for you. And then that stress is gonna cause you to probably choose poor foods or choose things like alcohol or smoking or something to deal with the stress. So all of your holistic health is about dealing with all the aspects of your life and how to see where you are and balance those things. So he was asking some of the things that I had done. So in my book, The 7-Day Guide to Tap In, Tune Up, and Take Charge of Your Mind, Body, and Spirit, I have 7 days where I'm introducing 7 different holistic health practices to help you deal with your life, your mind, your thoughts, and things like that. So I have Mondays. Mondays is Monday morning mantras, where I teach you about mantras and affirmations and how to use those to train your body, your mind, and rewire your mind. Because a lot of times we sit and we hold on to old stuff, right? They got old stuff playing in their mind from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago of just negative stuff, right? That so you just keep replaying in your mind. You just holding on to old shit. I'm sorry. You just holding on to old shit, right? And so that has a physical effect on your body, right? It has and it's going to show up in some place. I was talking about your lungs, your liver, your kidney, right? All these things are going to have an effect on your body. So I teach you about mantras and affirmations and how to use those in your life to reprogram your brain. Tuesdays was Tap In Tuesdays, where we talk about medicine, but I have different types of medicine. So there's nature medicine. So that's going outside, putting your feet on the ground, hugging a tree, getting some sun, right? That's medicine. Creative medicine. So doing something creative in your life, right? For yourself, whether you're painting, dancing, singing, doing something creative. What is it? Nature medicine, creative medicine, and music and dance medicine, right? And that is listening to music and dancing, and that helps you to, all these things help to boost your mood and change your neuropathic pathways in your mind, which helps your body physically. Wednesday was Drink Water Wednesday. And so my tool is for how much water do you drink? My tool is drink half your body weight in ounces of water per day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, half of your body weight is 75 pounds. So that's 75 ounces of water a day you should be drinking. Thursday was Thankful Thursdays, where we talked about giving thanks every morning. As soon as you wake up, every morning, I write down 3 things that I am grateful for. And there are 3 specific things. So not just I'm grateful for the sun or I'm grateful for my kids, right? We know we're grateful for our kids. We know the sun comes up every day, but specific things like I spent some time with my son today, right? That's something I'm grateful for. Or somebody held the door open for me. That's something I'm grateful for. And why specific things? Because that keeps you in a mind state of thinking about things to be grateful for throughout the day. You're looking for things every day to be grateful for, small or big, because you're gonna have to write it down that next morning. When you wake up, first thing you wake up in the morning, don't do nothing else before you write down those things. Friday was Fit Fridays, where I showed you a 5-minute workout, a 5-minute full body workout in just 5 minutes. Saturday was Soup and Salad Saturday, where I talked about helping as benefits of soup and salad. And then Sunday was Self-Care Sunday. I talked about doing self-care techniques for yourself. And that's a free guide. It's on my website, homeechhoney.com. Home ec, like home economics, homeechhoney.com. You can download the free guide. And those are some of the things I talked about. So did that answer your question? Okay.
Perfect. Okay, well, that's the way to end it right there. Any other questions, any other thoughts?
And you guys can find me on all social media platforms under my name, AFYA, F is in Frank, AFYA, Afya Ibomu, and you will find me, find all my stuff and everything. So
Wonderful. All right, well, thank you all for coming out. I
thank you for
appreciate it.
having me. I appreciate it.
See, that was worth sitting in on.